Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan, and today I'm feeling rather nostalgic. You see, I was looking through the Steam Workshop for mods for Total War Warhammer 3, and funny enough, I got sent back on a nostalgia trip with Dead's Cult of the Possessed add-on pack, which introduces units from the Mordheim series, one of my all-time favorite games, which sadly got abandoned by the developers, but it's still an absolute gem, and is one of those games that I always recommend to Warhammer fans. So, what we're getting from this is the units that you can use in Mordheim, but in Total War Warhammer, more specifically to add in some human cultists to your Demon Prince campaign. And they look absolutely awesome, you can see them here. It's just so nice to, well, just get a little bit nostalgic. You're getting some Brethren, you're getting some Dark Souls, there's even a Lord option too, which at the time of testing was not available in custom battles, but is available in campaign. That is the Magister. You get a nice little roster here, which is quite fun to use. So let's take the time now to look at all the individual units and how they perform on the battlefield. Let's check out their stats and all that. So first we have the Brethren Archers, and if you've played Mordheim before, don't worry, these actually hit things. I don't know if that was just me with RNG, but yeah. So they are expendable, they've got weak against armor and poor leadership. Keep in mind that these are supposed to be cultists after all, so they're not really big powerful Norskins or Chaos Warriors, but they're a ranged unit with 120 range, 20 ammunition, missile strength isn't too bad. All around the stats aren't great, but they're not horrible either. It gives you a weak point of entry missile unit, which is always useful, especially for a faction with pretty much, well, no range whatsoever, barring a bit of artillery. So it does change up your playstyle a little bit, but you can easily theme. Next we have the Brethren Spearmen, once again expendable and low leadership, but they do have access to Frenzy and they do have some bonuses against large. They're very cheap, so you'll be getting these before, say for example, Marauders with Spears, so you do have some benefits to having these, plus right now, the Chaos factions are kind of lacking anti-large at the moment, especially since you're going to be dealing with a lot of large stuff. You know, if you move into the Northern Chaos Waste, everyone's going to have a Bloodthirster, a Keeper of Secrets, a Great Unclean One, so yeah, you're going to want to have something to help take them down. Keep in mind, however, that these are still chaff units. They are expendable too, so use them as you wish. There's also a second variant of Spearmen, but this time with shields, a little bit better stats all around. It's mostly focusing around melee defense and, you know, giving you a shield, which is obviously very useful. Plus, you want a better front line. The normal Spearmen will be useful at some points, but even if you're going with a theme, keep in mind that the AI is not going to go with a theme, so these will start becoming more and more common for you later on. We also have access to a Swordsman variant, which is shielded, expendable, poor leadership, has Frenzy also. It's pretty good all around. I'd say that it's actually quite useful. I really like these units. I've quite enjoyed using them for my own testing campaign. I played for about 5-6 hours or so in a go. The best unit that you can recruit from this unit pack is, of course, the Dark Souls. They look super cool. They've got armor-piercing damage. They're unbreakable. They've got Rampage too, so that is a bit of a clutch. Decent stats all around. I have noticed that they can cause terror. Personally, I think that this is a bit much. Fear would be fine, but in general, they play very well. They do quite a bit of damage. The Rampage can be a clutch, but generally, it balances very well with everything else. Plus, it just takes you back to those great weapon builds in Mordheim. I really should play Mordheim again. All the units themselves can be recruited from your provincial capitals, so you don't really have to wait a lot of time for them. And yeah, you've got a decent access, you've got some range units at the very beginning, which is obviously very helpful, especially as Daniel, where you're dealing with Kislev attacking you, Nordland attacking you, Chaos factions, Norskin factions, random Wood Elves. So you kind of have a little bit extra to help you out here. It obviously doesn't take that long to get up to tier 3 too, so you will also get those unbreakable units. They are fairly cheap, I wouldn't say that they're too expensive. And keep in mind that what I'm showing right now is on normal, just for normal's sake. I have tested this on legendary and they do help a little bit. You're still going to have a bit of trouble because everyone is attacking you, but it does become a little bit better for you. You also have access to a very unique, undivided character known as the Magister. This is a Lord option. I'm just showing off how he looks at the moment because, I mean, look at him, he looks pretty cool. Again, a lot of Mordheim vibes, and yeah, you know, when you start having that nostalgia bug, it's nice, and seeing that in Total War is just really, really nice. The Lord characters are recruited in the traditional sense, so you don't have to wait. You can even recruit them straight from the beginning if you so want to, if you want to have a second army supporting you at the very start. The character itself has a massive skill tree, however, it's more to tailor it as you wish. You see, you've got access to 4 different laws of magic: the Law of Fire, the Law of Slaanesh, the Law of Tzeentch, and the Law of Nurgle. By picking one, you lock the others, so you can have one Magister being Law of Fire, the other one being Law of Nurgle. It just depends on how you want to play about it, and it allows for a lot more thematic play, plus it gives you access to Law of Fire, so you've got access to a new Law of Magic. What you would have also seen is that the laws themselves are tied to specific bonuses to units. So the Law of Slaanesh focuses on boosting up your Slaanesh units, the Law of Nurgle does for Nurgle units, these are specific demons and all that, and obviously the mortals that might be tied to them from vanilla rosters, and the Law of Tzeentch for Tzeentchian stuff. Now this is something important to note: the Law of Fire will help out the Khornate units. Yes, Khorne does not like magic in any shape, way or form, but I understand the reasoning for the modder. It's likely because he needed the space and it kind of fits. You just have some fire attached to Khorne. It works out quite well, and you don't have to use the spells if you want to have a lore-friendly playthrough. It's more of the case of not being able to get those bonuses too early on too. Above that, you've got a generic line which focuses on all your basic administration stuff, so Route Marcher, Lightning Strike, Ruination, all the usual stuff that you expect from Chaos Lords. It's the same size as normally, and keep in mind that you will have the space there because you've got the other ones locked if you've chosen specific laws of magic, so you're pretty much good to go, and everything doesn't really need explaining here. More importantly, the Magisters and the Magisters alone have some unique skills to boost up your Mordheim units just to give them a bit more attack and all that, make them much more useful. So if you want to go with a themed cultist army, you should, because it's kind of fun, and you can boost them up to make them much more powerful. Sure, they're not going to be like god tier, they're not going to be like Chaos Warriors, but they will be better. And if you're bringing them as a secondary supporting army, they're going to be very, very useful, especially as chaff. They've also got access to some other stuff like Eye of the Gods and all that, so you've got a pretty good lord here. So versatile, you can pretty much just make 4 completely different ones. Now, before I end this video, I want to show off a custom battle. Here, I've used a randomly generated Nurgle battle versus an army of cultists. Keep in mind that it's a little bit skewed in my favor, mostly because, well, you know, the cultists are so cheap and you've got a lot of variety. However, I don't have access to any magic. I've got a generic demon prince. They do have a little bit of magic. They do a little bit more damage. And obviously, you know, I'm a player. Players are generally going to be better than the AI. It's just how it is. But as I experienced, honestly, they were pretty good. I've been playing for a campaign. The AI in campaign is definitely a lot more tougher than it is in custom battles when you start taking into consideration tech and difficulty modifiers and all that. But in general, this was a pretty long fight for what it was. A very varied army of Nurgle versus a pretty good stack of cultists. I did win by the end, but I did take very heavy losses. And I must say that even though the cultists aren't great, you can see their benefit in the campaign, that's for certain. Having range is very, very useful. I've really liked it, especially for a more defensive point of view, and it's mostly just to help with the oncoming tide, since you do get, like, so much, as I said earlier in the video, so much does come for you because you're enemy number 1. So the range and the Dark Souls, I would say, they kind of shine bright here against the AI bias. Anyways, I'm going to let you see the rest of the battle here so you can check it out. I do make a lot of mistakes because, I mean, it was me, plus I was recording quite late. But with all that being said, the link to the mod can be found in the description below. I'd highly suggest it, especially if you are keen on Mordheim style units, because, I mean, I'm just having such a huge nostalgia trip that this mod is just going to stay permanently in my loadouts, I think, from now on.
The Dark Gods command me! I am power! Chaos Marauders! Yes! Your will! Quickly! Rah! Monkeyman! Pull back! Ah! For the Blood God! John! My gods call! Faster! Dark Scroll? Yes! Rah! Reincarnate! Yes, Lord! Now is our time! Now is our time! Bringing doom! Striding out! The Dark Gods command me! Pray! Retreat! Wanton slaughter! Very well! Chaos Marauders! Condiments! Now is our time! Chaos Marauders! Demon Prince! For the Black God! As one! For the Black God! No! Chaos Marauders! Bring us to carnage! Faster, base hunger! Charge them! The Dark Gods command me! Ah!
This was not meant to be!
Yes, Lord! Your will! Retreat! They will succumb! Give us guarding! Let's begin!